Hi, everyone. Congratulations on treading water. This is a deeply disturbing film in places.
Thanks, Tony.
Welcome. No, I appreciate it. And Joe and Becky, well, what performances you guys put in? Is it? I'll start with Becky. Is it tough to play someone so out of step, if I could use that?
Sure. Is it tough? I mean, yeah, definitely. I think, you have to accept that, especially with Laura's storyline, there wasn't, I guess that many happy moments. So it can take a toll, especially when it's mainly night shoots. But also I think you just want to do justice to the character and play them authentically. So I think you gotta try and make them whole and round and what comes with that is the good and the bad. So yeah.
I would imagine Joe taking on the role of Danny. I mean, again, it's got to be a tough role, and especially as Becky had said, you're shooting mostly at night. Does that give you kind of a claustrophobic feel?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the character in general was obviously a joy to play, but as you can imagine, it was a lot physically and mentally and everything. And yeah, me and Becky, most of our shoots were at nights, and we shot them pretty much consecutively, didn't we? And it was for about 2 or 3 weeks, so we were confined in a very sort of intimate crew, and we all just got really stuck in, and yeah, it was our own little universe for a bit. So we really did live and breathe the whole thing. But I specifically remember those night shoots because most of Danny's and Laura's scenes are either very high stakes and they're very intense, or they're very loving. So it was easy in a sense to get into it because we had so much sort of dialogue and moments to go through. But yeah, a lot of fun, very deep and intense in certain parts. But yeah, we had it's a strange thing to say, but we all had a lot of fun shooting it as well, which always sounds weird.
Well, it does. And Gino, though, putting all this together, I mean, first of all, congratulations on a brilliantly done noir kind of piece. I
Nice
mean,
one.
this brought me back to the 60s, maybe the even the 50s, and those deep shadows and everything. It just played so well uh into the story.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, Sam's got to take a lot of credit for that, the cinematographer. He had a look that he wanted to go for. Obviously, he knew my sort of thoughts with freedom to the performers. And we took inspiration from lots of films like 21 Grams and things like, I don't know, Dallas Buyers Club, where everything was sort of things were easy to set up, and actually we gave as much time to the performances as possible. But Sam looked at how he could bring out that dramatic lighting, and yeah, he did a cracking job.
And where did the idea spring from?
So I was working in supported housing in my late 20s, early 30s. And I was teaching filmmaking skills, stuff like that. And yeah, I just got on with the housemates there. I got on with the staff. What become apparent straight away is they've got zero support structure, like the family type of thing. So that supported housing was like a family in a way. And there was obviously addiction problems, mental health problems, but there was a lot of fun there, a lot of chaos, a lot of laughter, and it was sort of like this resilience that I thought was there, and I don't think we've seen in the UK supported housing really on film. So it was kind of that was the starting point. People dealing with lots of problems, but having that resilience. And I penned it. I did the treatment, and that was in 2013. But yeah, I started doing corporate work, trying to make money, and then eventually I come back to it, and luckily got to make the film.
It is so well done, and Becky and Joe do such a great job in balancing comedy with severe drama. I mean, it's just that human experience. And Becky, this goes to you. I don't know of any actress that looks that good under like single white light.
Thanks, Tony.
Well,
It
there you
didn't feel
go.
like that when they were putting dark eyeshadow under my eye. I was like, no more, please. I'm tired enough.
Just carry a light bulb like this around with you. Uh, the character that you play, Laura, though, is so deep and so wonderfully. She wants to give, and yet she can't. She's trapped, and you did that so brilliantly. This is like watching a Shakespeare piece.
Wow.
Right, I think it's interesting actually because what Gino was just saying about resilience, I think, you could absolutely play her in a way where her natural energy is quite angry because of the hand that she's been dealt. Like, she could be her persona could be quite, F the world because of her situation. But actually, the way I kind of went into it was quite gentle, actually, and like you said, like a lot of stuff being played with humor. And I think that all goes back to resilience. It goes back to, how do you get through the day? And there's no point being angry at every step because these people would just, give up or turn to things like drugs, like Danny has. Um, and I think that's why, for me, the most heartbreaking bit for her is in the moment almost when Danny finally kind of says, "Oh, I love you, you know that, don't you?" And the main thing she's angry about is someone else finding out and potentially ruining that for her, ruining that part of it being kind of escapism and her, like, the what she gets to have with Danny in the night. So yeah, it's interesting that she doesn't even respond to the love part. She's almost more bothered about the fact now it's been exposed that it's going to be taken away from her.
Joe, talk to me about that scene that you have with Becky, because that's such a revealing moment in the film too, where you're finally feeling um, that you can share that.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that was that. I think in the end, Gino might have used a single take for that moment. I'm not too sure. I remember it was we did it in the playground, and yeah, that's the moment really, without going into it too much for people that haven't seen it, where his world sort of might suddenly come to a bit of a standstill, and he may snap at a certain moment. Um, but yeah, I think all of Danny's and Laura's scenes are really interesting and follow certain, I don't know, certain beats. And that was the great thing about working with Becky. And I almost think she had the hardest job in the whole film. Sort of, I was sort of there all the time doing different things, and to come into something is almost the more difficult thing to do as an actor. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Joe's
just
at
just
every shot, but I had it was
You're the
hard.
heart and soul of the film, Becky.
she is, she is. Um, but yeah, that scene. Do you know, Gino worked so well and allowed us to be creative and be spontaneous in certain moments that within every scene that we did, there were just little things that we didn't really rehearse
Mm.
that just came into the scenes. And Gino wanted that on every take. He had his dialogue and he had the things that he needed for the narrative, but he also wanted to people and the actors to experience certain things in the moment, like people do in everyday life. We never really know what's going to happen next. And Gino wanted an element of that in every single moment in his film. Not to necessarily do it every time, but just to give the universe that element of unpredictability at times, for better or for worse. And I think a lot of scenes with Danny and Laura, there is a lot of genuine moments at times of humor, of love, of despair, of betrayal. And it all goes into sort of how Gino has made his film and how he works on set.
Gino, this film is so beautifully. It's a wonderful statement about celebrating vulnerability and understanding that it's not a weakness.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's about being human, obviously, isn't it? Whatever situation you're in. And I think everyone can identify with isolation and struggles and actually what you're doing is some of the most vulnerable people in society. You're hopefully putting the audience into their shoes and seeing how they feel and seeing why they make certain decisions and how they may have ended up in these spaces in the world. So yeah, it is about that. And it's we approached it with this instinctive vibe, and we approached it to be capturing moments of reality, like Joe said, and I feel like those moments, those little special moments that happen between the actors, they layered it so you would get that reality and that realness and that vulnerability, what you talked about, Tony.
Yeah, I appreciate your answer to that. Becky, what do you think audiences will take away once they discover treading water?
Well, we've had such an amazing journey with it already that we've been lucky enough to get so much of that audience response, and it's been a bit of a dream ride so far that I think the audiences are the reason it's been able to, keep going and going. And I think the most touching thing so far has been people's responses to the way in which Gino's approached OCD, intrusive thoughts. It's a version of that we haven't seen before. So hopefully they'll gain a lot of understanding. And like you said, I think no matter, you might not have any experience of the severity of these people, but everyone can understand loneliness, everyone can understand resilience. Yeah, so I hope people kind of weirdly feel hopeful for a film, like you said, that is very kind of dark.
Yeah, it is a dark piece. And Joe, I'm going to give you the last word. The same kind of question. What do you think audiences will take away once they discover the film?
Yeah, I reiterate a lot of what Becky just said then. The topics that the film goes into are universal, really, Obsessive compulsive disorder is kind of a taboo subject, as is intrusive thoughts, and the effect a lot more people than we think. So it was one of the very proud elements of being involved with this film, to play sort of a young man that's going through his mental health issues. So if the film helps and represents one person and changes one life, in my opinion, that's our job done. So one, the importance of the topics of the film, but also, and I've said this a few times, I'm very proud that we have a northern feature film here from Manchester that displays the city, displays a lot of wonderful performers. The whole cast are brilliant. We've had a local crew, and yeah, the city's on display in the film. So one of the main things is to also represent the city and show American audiences a film from Northern England as well, that I'm excited and very proud to be a part of.
Yes, it's a love letter to Manchester,
Yeah.
And Gino, again, where you place your camera is very important, and you understand, I mean, that it's just glorious that way.
Oh, thank you, Tony. Thank you. I'm glad you liked the film and you responded that way. Appreciate it.
Thank you all for your time, and again, congratulations on treading water.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nice one,
Tony.
Tony.
Cheers,
Take
man.
care. See you later. Bye.
See ya. Bye bye.